My name is Nimalan Kumar. The following presentation is based on credible newspaper articles and journals. In the fourth quarter of 2021, opposition leader Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim pinpointed regarding the Pandora Papers and gained assistance from Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) and Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) to conduct an investigation which spiked controversy, and it has become a current issue in international finance. What is Pandora Papers? Comparable to the previous leaks such as Panama Papers and Paradise Papers, the Pandora Papers are leaked documents in 2021 which reveals hidden and corrupted or some unethical deals done by the wealthy and elite people around the world. Nearly 12 million leaked documents included famous world leaders, politicians, corporates, executives, celebrities, and billionaires. Who leaked the documents? They were leaked from 14 offshore service providers who specialize in the incorporation and operations of various types of companies, trusts, and foundations, typically used to shelter assets in secrecy jurisdictions, away from governments, tax authorities, courts, and the wider public. Why is this a big issue? The Pandora Papers are from offshore systems which allows the wealthy an opportunity to hide or change taxable wealth to shell companies or company with bank account that only exists on papers, which has no label or service but placed in a low tax jurisdiction without requiring them to live or actually earn profits there. In simple words, normal people pay income tax and corporations earn huge profits, so they pay tax for the government. But if you are an elite or corporation with an offshore account, you can hide huge income and avoid tax. This will worsen wealth disparities, drain money from nation's treasury, and most importantly, protect frauds and stealers while denying their victims any means of retaliation. What are the impacts of the Pandora Papers? Firstly, tax evasion is the illegal and intentional non-payment or underpayment of tax. Some examples of tax evasion schemes include understating income, overstating deductions, and falsifying financial records. Revenue from taxation is central to the functioning of the modern state. Without them, governments cannot perform its administrative or redistributive functions. Modern governments rely on revenue from taxes to fund capital expenditures and to fund its budget each year. In this case, tax havens are not illegal, since they are offshores. Trusts and companies are set up in places with low tax rates and where the owner's name can be hidden, such as the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Hong Kong, Singapore, and many more. These legal means of using complex networks of secret entities to move around money are the same as those used by criminals. In 2019, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) estimated that tax have deprived governments globally of around USD 500 billion to USD 600 billion per year. Moreover, a report by 3 groups, including the UK-based Tax Justice Network, estimated that governments around the world lose around USD 427 billion each year to tax avoidance and evasions by companies and wealthy individuals. Next is money laundering. Money laundering is the process of concealing illegitimate income and later channeling it through the financial system to make it appear legitimate. The global banking system is integral to the process of money laundering, as criminals desire the ability to transfer large amounts of funds quickly and efficiently. To prevent the abuse of the financial system, several money laundering regulations have been introduced in the EU. Publicly exposed confidential information about the hidden wealth of hundreds of current and former government officials and higher-profile rich people. Some cases reportedly to also engage in criminal activities such as money laundering. Reduces tax revenue because activity taking place in the underground economy is undeclared. This has a negative impact on the economy as a whole and also gives illegal business an unfair competitive advantage. over those operatives and earnings from legitimate sources. Money generated illegally, also called as dirty money, is successfully cleaned by criminals. It leads to more drugs, crime, violence, and terrorist activities in an ever-increasing circle of criminality which draws more and more people into its net. For the next part, I will present regarding the hidden assets from the Pandora Papers. The Pandora Papers revealed how unusual offshore finances and secretive wealth have infiltrated global politics. Some of the people named in the papers are major political leaders in developing or poor countries. About 35 high-profile names, 300 other public officials such as government ministers, judges, mayors, pop stars, and military generals in more than 90 countries. The leaked data revealed in detail how these individuals stashed assets in a covert financial system with the help of firms and established companies in secrecy jurisdiction with low financial regulations. I wish to present the hidden assets that were uncovered anonymously. Firstly, from the country Jordan, around 14 homes worth more than 106 million in the United Kingdom and the United States through front companies registered in tax havens. Second is in Lebanon. Alleged money laundering took place by using offshore accounts involving ministers and governors. Third is Pakistan. Prominent members of the country's minister moved millions of dollars of wealth. The fourth is the Czech Republic. Minister moved around 22 million through offshore companies to buy an estate on the French Riviera in 2009 while keeping his ownership secret. Fifth is the Azerbaijan. High-profile names secretly been involved in British property deals worth more than around $542 million and many more. From countries such as Kenya, United Kingdom, South Dakota, China, Russia, and India. It involves a lot of countries. The Pandora Papers have affected many things. One of it is the monetary policy. How the Pandora Papers affect the scope of monetary policy. Monetary policy's objectives are effectively promoting the goals of maximum employment, stable prices, and moderate long-term interest rates. The scope has typically been characterized as the dual mandate, since if prices are stable and the economy is operating at a full employment, long-term nominal interest rates will generally be moderate. However, in the long run, economists now understand that monetary policy determines only the level of prices and not the unemployment rate or the real variables. In this case, it is monetary policy that has ultimate responsibility for the purchasing power of a nation's currency. The activities took place in this case effects that was stated earlier, such as tax evasion, money laundering, effects that affects the monetary policy's concerns with the changes in the supply of money and credit. Adding on, during an economic crisis due to low revenue for governments will lead to reduced emergency funds or rescue funds in its revenue account, can use such funds to revive the failing economy and correct financial imbalance in the financial system of the country. The absence of such activities such as money laundering and tax evasion took places in this issue would lead to greater financial stability. Recently, in July 2021, governments have reacted to handle this situation. For instance, to curb tax havens, leaders of the G20 set a global minimum corporate tax rate of 15%. The global minimum tax rate would apply to overseas profit of multinational firms with 750 million euros in sales globally. What it does is that governments could still set whatever local corporate tax rate they want, but if companies pay lower rates in a particular country, their home government could top up their taxes to the 15% minimum, eliminating the advantage of shifting profits. Moreover, Malaysian governments have instructed agency to look into Pandora Papers, which was explained earlier. From my perspective, increasing transparency can be beneficial. It will enhance market discipline. Greater bank disclosure has benefits for the stability of the financial system and improves market efficiency, facilitating price discovery. Furthermore, greater transparency can help uncover concealed costs and provide protection for the investors by enabling a better understanding of the risks in financial intermediaries. Greater transparency can improve public confidence in the financial sector and the decision making of investors and enables regulators to make better regulations. In the financial system, transparency plays an important role in terms of increasing the effectiveness of monetary and fiscal policy, increasing the predictability of central bank's actions, and promoting the independence of central bank. Increased transparency can translate into better financial performance, lower the risk of severe financial crisis, enhance stability, and better link senior executives' remuneration or to financial institution. Let me share the benefits of financial technology or fintech. The development of fintech could contribute to macroeconomic stability by lowering constraints, resulting in faster economic growth, less poverty, and lower income inequality. But it also could be a source of instability and risks. The Pandora Papers affect the economic development. Fintech decreases asymmetry of information and enables more accurate risk assessments. Based on previous financial crises, we witnessed that more transparency would lead to less default probability and lower number of days of illiquidity. Fintech could provide improved transparency between market participants and regulators, drive standardization, and continue delivering value to shareholders. Linking to fintech, the movement towards a cashless society seems to be inevitable, as what digitalization is heading. Cryptocurrency, which has economic value and doesn't rely on banks to verify transactions, which leads to many economic injustice. The perpetrators that were involved in Pandora Papers, a few of them by chance have performed transactions through cryptocurrencies, which led many governments such as USA to enforce crypto law. Which brings us to the central bank's digital currency. It is the money issued by the central bank in electronic format and universally accessible. The importance of central bank digital currency, also known as CBDC, has been well acknowledged by central banks in major economies, not only due to the impact of digitalization, but also the declining use of physical cash. Central bank digital currency expands financial inclusion. It can ensure that people could experience new perspectives on accessing financial services. Thus, payments in CBDC will be verified. It verifies the identity of the account and regulates activity of users. CBDC offers many benefits but also presents unique risks. Central bank digital currency would strengthen the traceability of money and offer financial regulators greater control, transparency, and oversight. It could provide the Federal Reserve a real-time panoramic view of the financial system and bolster data sharing between government entities of regulatory interests, such as preventing impacts of Pandora Papers, and many more. The enhanced visibility provided by the central bank digital currency also possess a concern for individual privacy. Although CBDC is supposedly provide government access to personal information that invades individual privacy, a revised privacy framework to account for technological advancement is required that will strike a proper balance between privacy and transparency by preserving some expectations of individual privacy from needless government surveillance while permitting regulatory innovations and legitimate law enforcement actions, which will prescribe permissible uses of CBDC records and implement a tiered access approach to the disclosure of CBDC records, preventing backdoor access to invasive government supervision and unwarranted disclosure of individual records.